Greetings once again. We we are continuing with the internal parasites. Remember, we defined the internal parasite as the worms that will affect the gastrointestinal tract of an animal, and we said we have three of them. We have the tapeworm, we have the liver fluke, and the roundworm. Remember, when we look at the structure of a tapeworm, we said a tapeworm, it's a worm, and then we said this worm, we said this worm that we have, it then have armor segments. So these are the segments, but then we talked about this one earlier on. There's nothing much from this cycle. What I want you to master here, what is important, you must understand that it's an indirect life cycle, meaning it requires two hosts to complete its life cycle. Then I want you to master the symptoms. I want you to also master the treatment. How can we treat or prevent it? We say the life cycle of it, it's an indirect life cycle, meaning in a host amangapi out two. And siyasathi kune farm animal bese kuba nama mites. You will get this one clear. Then we have the animal host, the host that they require in order for it to survive. We have the domestic animals, young animals, and wild animals. Then you have the cycle here. The cycle is simple. They may just give you in an exam, basically classify the parasite. So since you see that this parasite, it goes to the interior part of the animal. Sizotini, it's an internal parasite. Then the name of it, it's a worm. Then worm yakhona besibanani ibanama segment. So kuzoba yi-tapeworm. But then what happens here, it's simple. It's simple. You will find that there are eggs that are released from the menu. Then the eggs will go to the grass. Then in the grass, the animal will eat the eggs. When the animal eats the eggs, then the eggs will go and attach to the walls of the small intestines of the animal. Then when it attaches to the walls, it will end up going to the muscles. Then when we decide to slaughter the animal, then we as humans will eat the animal, and then that's how the tapeworm will be transferred from in its life cycle. I hope this one will be very, very clear. Let's quickly look at the symptoms. I want you to take note of all of this. One, we have the pot belly. Pot belly, you find that isithi asibe sikhulu ne isisu sale silwane. Then there is poor wool production. So one of the symptoms is that there will be poor wool production. So in a simpler way, we say there will be loss of wool production, or one can say there will be decrease of wool production. I want you to master this one. Then we also say even the hair cord will be dry and ipinde iti aibe rough. Then this one we say there will be proglottids appear in the feces. You find that when the animal is excreting, or egestion, you find that the feces of the animal ati agabenama piece of what? Of the tapeworm. Then we also have diarrhea. I want you to master it, to take note of the diarrhea. Ngizobuya ngikubonisa ukuthi kungani sithi i-diarrhea, it's very important to take note of. And just to brief you, just to make it clear, i-diarrhea sihlobo sami izoba yi-symptom awo onke lama internal parasite. Ikhona ku tapeworm, ikhona ku liver fluke, phinde futhi ikhona kuphi na ku roundworm. So make sure that you understand this one. Then there will be retarded growth, or else isibana ngeke sisakhona ukukhula kahle. So make sure that you master these symptoms. We say pot belly, poor wool production, dry and rough hair cord, proglottids appear in the feces, diarrhea. Remember what we said. Take note of three. you just take note of 3. Make sure that if ever a question is poem, you are able to recall 3. Asbambu diarrhea, pot belly, poor wool production. Then let's look at this one. How can we treat it? We have 3 here, so you must know all of them. The first thing that you can do, you can provide the animal with medication and anthelmintics, and then you can use what? A drenching gun. So you can say you provide the medication using a drenching gun. Remember, people, we said a drenching gun, it is that instrument that is used to administer liquid medication. So we say it's used to administer liquid medication, and this liquid medication will go to the alimentary canal to treat what? Internal parasite. As a result, remember we said there's a question that we answered. The question was asking, which instrument can you use if you want to treat internal parasites? The answer that you are supposed to write there, it's what? Is drenching gun. Because a drenching gun, the animal drink using a drenching gun, and that medication will go to the alimentary canal and treat what? Internal parasites. So make sure that you understand that one. Then we have number 2. You must avoid wet pastures. You must avoid wet pastures. And then number 3, you practice rotational grazing. If you can still recall your grade 10 stuff, rotational grazing, we once said that you divide your pasture in different sections. Then you know that they eat here, or they graze here, and then they will also move to another section. They also move to another camp. They also move to another camp. While these camps, when you move the animals to the other camps, the previous camps will be left, they will be left resting, and then you will be able to kill all the tapeworms that you may find there. So people, there's something that I want you to note. Do you see? We are saying this one, you must avoid wet pastures. If you still recall, even the liver fluke, we also say it needs what? Wet conditions in order for it to survive. So what is happening here, people, if I can try to assist you in this one? This simply means that our internal parasites, they all survive well in a wet environment. They all survive well in a wet environment. So when you want to treat internal parasites, make sure that the first thing that you do, you avoid wet pastures. That's what is important in this case. Okay, fine. We have 3. Administer medication using a drenching gun, avoid wet pastures, then 3, rotational grazing. We are done with this one. What is important here? Ama symptoms nani? Ne treatment. Make sure that you master this one. It's very, very simple.